respectful, and I think it was the best time we had going down there. It was so wonderful. Yeah. But I really have to thank Joe and Rory as well for their contributions.
Most of this track.
Yeah, uncredited, but that's what you do in movies. And I think he just was this wonderful, respectful guy who he didn't do it in a traditional way to picture, but that was so amazing because it was all about emotions. And we had such a blast. We found this wonderful classical Chinese musician called Lu Fan, who came and recorded at Johnny's studio. And she doesn't know who Johnny is. I mean, she was like, no, that's wrong. You're not doing it right, because she had her own opinion. And her music's amazing. But just to gather these musicians was wonderful. It was one of the best experiences of my life, actually. Yeah.
Excellent. The gentleman over here.
Tilda and Ezra, you both made some amazing career choices in the last few years. I've loved all your work, both of you. I was wondering, since a lot of this film is in the editing, so you've done the film, you've acted, it's done, now you're watching it. I was wondering if, as an audience member, seeing the film, what surprised you the most?
Well, you have to remember that, we're not audience members. We try to be audience members. In maybe 10 years' time, we might be able to see it. It's always true that, a film is cut into shape. But apart from the fact that I was actually, privy to the cut of this film and sort of felt it develop, the truth is, the film is pretty much, even though it's a very complicated edit, it pretty much was in the script. All of that cutting from visual to visual was what Lynne and Rory laid down in the first place, and even in the shooting script, because as Lynne said, we had 30 days to shoot this film. We had to really know what we were doing, and it might look like we didn't know what we were doing, but the truth is we actually did. and Lynne and Rory had sensed the visual cuts right in the sort of, I would say, the penultimate draft of the script. I think the real leap for this project, coming from this book is a really wordy book. It's about a mouthy person who's writing letters, so it's very discursive and it's very much about trying to explain stuff, and she's got all sorts of opinions about, the politics of Bush-era America and etc. And we knew that we wanted to make a film about dumbness. This woman is completely dumb. She can't talk to her soul. She's completely lonely. We also knew that we didn't want to explain anything. And we also didn't know that we couldn't work it out either. So the script kind of laid down that dumbness, and the music and the soundtrack is possibly is where the articulacy lies, apart from the camera. But the script was there always from the beginning of shooting, and these guys did it.
Sorry, standing on everyone's toe. But basically, what was wonderful is that Lionel, who wrote the book, which is very different actually, she really loved it. She thought it was he's dancing still. But she sort of saw it as completely exactly like the book, and it's totally different. And that was a big deal actually. It was quite an amazing experience. That anyway.
You keep it there. I saw this film once at Cannes, and it was sort of like being hit by a train, but then getting caught under the train and being run over by the entirety of the train. No, I think that meant it was good. And then the train passed me by, and my mother was next to me sobbing. And then I started sobbing, and then I couldn't really walk or speak for a few hours. So yeah, not an impartial audience member yet. Haven't come around to that happy place. But it was fun. It was a fun time, as I recall. Over here.
Yes, I felt like the use of sound and how loud things were and where you place them. You said some sounds continuing through other scenes from other things. Could you just touch on why you chose to use sound so much and how it affected the story? Just talk a little more about that.
Well, science is the other picture in cinema. know, that's the thing. I mean, like, I'm not making filmed theatre here. I think sound, you know, brings you into a dream world, it brings you into a subconscious world. I mean, things like the sprinklers, you might not notice it at first, you know, the sounds when you're going through the curtains, and there's a shh, you know, that sound is a recurring sound, and it's subliminal, and every time she hears that sound, that thing comes back. In fact, we had a really cool scene in the script where we had to keep ripping the scene out. Because we didn't have any money, where she goes back to the house subconsciously, the house of the, you know, death or whatever, you know, she goes there subconsciously, and the sprinklers all come on again, and we had a technical problem, the lights didn't work, you couldn't tell it was the same house, it was a real bummer, but it was a beautiful scene in the script. Sorry, Rory, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's a picture. I love it, and I mean, I like to make a cinematic experience. You know, I like to, you know, make people feel something in a visceral sense rather than through dialogue. Yeah, and the filmmakers I love I think, you know, utilise sounds a lot.
Anybody else? The lady over here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Mm-hmm.
It's similar in that there's weather and they're on that conversation, and you know that at some point this is coming home to each other. But I found that the film actually ended on almost like a less positive note.
No, yeah.
The question is about the ending and how Lynne chose that ending, because it is a little different from the book's ending, and speaking more about that.
Well, there was a whole explanation in the book about, you know, why he'd done this at the high school or whatever. I was really less